Hi YouTube, this is Superperson, and I'm here to hopefully do a on-track video about how to meet your animal guide. And this can also apply for spirit guides. Now, first question is always, what is a spirit guide or an animal guide? And a spirit or animal guide is a creature or a human who follows you along in your life and guides you subtly most of the time on things you should do. They won't come and say, take the blue pill or the red pill, like take that blue pill. They will do subtle things and they'll guide you to a better path in life. If you learn how to communicate with them, you open up a whole new way of understanding yourself and understanding the world, and you have more of a direct influence from them. Now, you have a couple different types of guides. You have, besides just the animal and the human, which the human guide is just like the animal, really. They're both about the same. You have a main one, like a main human or a main animal. And the main guide stays with you throughout your life, and they guide you from birth to death, usually through multiple lives. So that's the main one. I'm just going to say right now as a disclaimer, this is completely my opinion on it. This is what I've learned from meditating, from speaking with my guide. So I cannot say anything that's true. So this is just my personal truth and what I believe. But yes, you have a main guide, and you only have one main guide, as far as I'm certain. And you can have lots of temporary guides. A temporary guide is usually, with me, animals. It can't be people who come into your life at a certain time when you need their strength. With animals, maybe you need that certain animal strength. Like maybe you need an otter's strength at this time. Like look at the meaning of an otter. What do otters give you when they're with you? What is the spiritual connection to otters? And they're there for you at that time because you need it. Humans, I'm not exactly sure how them being temporary works. I would say culturally, maybe a temporary guide is a different culture than your main guide, and because that they guide you differently at that time you need it. But I'm unsure. But you do have temporary guides that come and go. You could have multiple ones at a time. You could have one that stays and leaves. They can stay for any amount of time. Now, with the animal guide, you have the life guide, the one that stays with you your whole life. And it's usually an animal that represents something you need in this lifetime that maybe you just don't have. And usually it represents something that you both share equally. Like the animal will have something you guys commonly share. Like it'll go, well, the animal symbolizes courage and strength. And you go, wow, I'm a really brave and courageous person. That's just who you are. But, okay, you may have that likeness, but then the animal might have something that you need. Like maybe you need stability, or you need confidence. Like you may have courage and strength, but you don't have the confidence. That's sort of what a life animal is. They're there with you for something you need this whole life. They don't change. If you have an otter from birth, you have the otter until you die. And in my belief system, when you die, they will switch when you go to a next life. And of course, you can have the temporary guides with the animals. Like I said, you can need, maybe at this time, you need the bunny's guidance, and a bunny will show up. Or you need a firefly's guidance, and they'll show up for a little bit. So on. Now, those are basically the different types of guides. Let's cover it again. You have a main guide, both human and animal. This is mostly about animal, but it can apply to human. And you have temporary guides for the animal or the human. They come and they go when you need them. But your main one will be with you your whole life. That is the main thing you need to know. Now, to meet your guide, there are a few things you can do. The main thing is to open up a line of communication to them. Like open up an invitation to them. Say you want to meet them. You're ready to meet them. You're ready for their wisdom. You're ready to build that connection. You're open to the idea of it. And that can be done a lot of ways. You can write a note and put it under your pillow at night. Just completely personal to you. You can just say, dear guide, or dear whatever religion you have. Dear God, please allow my guide to come. Dear whoever, or you just say direct it to your guide. Dear guide, I would really like to speak with you about a pressing issue in my life. Or I just generally want to get to know you to understand you better, to understand myself better. Please, if you would, come to me. I'm open to your wisdom. Love you, whatever. And put it under your pillow. You leave it on your nightstand. You can do meditation. You can sit and openly invite when you're in a meditative state. When you get to that lower level of consciousness, invite your guide to come into that space with you. See what you see what you hear, what you feel. You can do it in lucid dreams, which is extremely fun to do. You go into your lucid dream, you try not to shout like an idiot, which I do a lot, and you say pretty much the same thing you do in meditation. You're open to the idea, you'd like to meet them, and they'd like to come. Let's say you're by a coffee shop. You're like, I'm going to go sit and have dream coffee right now because I just want to, and if you want to have a seat with me, feel free to come in and have a seat with me and we can chat. Do the invite to them. You must open that line of communication. They're already waiting for you. They've been with you your whole life because you're directing this to your main guide. Temporary guides you don't typically get to know on a named name basis. You'll see the animal and they will come and they'll go. You don't actually know them like you know your main guide. There's a complete difference with that. So this is only to really meet your main guide. Temporary guides are different. So open up that line of communication. Meditate, lucid dream, ask them to come to you in daily life. Pray, whatever you want to do that makes you feel closer to a spiritual thing. Leave offerings to them. A lot of people, if you read books, they say leave offerings to the animal guides. Since you don't know what yours is, they say leave food out, leave presents. Like if you have an altar and you're Wiccan, leave stuff on your altar that's an invitation to the guide. Burn a special incense you don't normally burn as an invitation and a gift to them to ask them to come to you. That's sort of how you do it. And they already know, by doing that, they know that you're willing to put the effort to meet them. And it's up to them at that point to meet you. And there are quite a few different types of guides. You may have one that's hands-on. He may come to you that when you're meditating and you're asking for help, you may have a really hands-on direct guide who comes right in that meditation and sits in front of you and starts talking to you. The same with lucid dreaming. That's the best guide to have, I think, in my opinion, because it's so much easier that way. That's what I have. But you can also have indirect guides, which are a lot more common. They don't like to be directly involved. They don't want to directly talk to you. They want to do little hints. They'll play music in your head. Like, let's say you're meditating and you ask for your guide's help and you want to meet them. You see a flash of a feather. That's all you see. A flash of a feather and you hear a noise. That's your guide communicating with you. It's not going to be straightforward, but they'll do it. Same with lucid dreams. You ask for your guide's help, something oddball will happen. Your guide may not come, but maybe the dream will shift randomly and go to something important. Maybe music will play in your head in the dream. Maybe a noise will happen or a smell or something will happen in the dream right after you ask for help. And that's the guide's way of communicating with you. I know it's not the most ideal thing, but a lot of them do it that way, and that's the way they like to do it. It's whatever works for them. I guess I assume guides have a job. This is their sort of job to guide us. And that's how they go about their business, and that's how they go about their business. After you talk to them and you establish this communication, let's say you know what your animal is. Depending on your guide, you may want to honor them. Now, that usually means drawing pictures of them, getting a necklace with the animal's image on it, getting something with the animal's image and wearing it, or putting it on your altar or by your bed. Honoring them that way. Or maybe you honor them by burning that special incense again as thanking them for coming. Some guides don't like that. In books, they always say guides are really into the honoring thing. I know mine is not. He really doesn't feel comfortable with me constantly trying to honor him. And not that I do that, but, you know, he doesn't like the idea of, like, the honor thing. He's like, you can have honor, but you don't have to do anything to show honor kind of thing. So, but once again, that's up for interpretation. Your guide is your own guide. And after that, hopefully they tell you your name. You know, meditate regularly to keep talking to them, or however they like to communicate with you. Hopefully you've been talking to them then. Lucid dream to meet them more. Pay attention in real life to see maybe that animal more frequently in certain situations. so on and so forth. And hopefully, like I said, you know their name, and you can just keep building that relationship with them, and you'll have that companion and that guidance whenever you need it. And that's basically how to meet an animal guide. Now, like I said in the other video I just made, I'm trying to be more direct and less like tangenty and, you know, more just do it now. And I didn't make notes for this, but, you know. And also on a completely random note, I drew pictures for a science class thing. And no, they're not the best. I swear to God they're not. But speaking of animal guides, your animal guide could be, it could be, wait, a bird. Yes, your animal guide could be a bird. Your animal guide, I'll tell you which ones I've met. I know someone who has a bird. Your animal guide could be a stag or a deer. I know someone who has a stag. And this isn't because they told me, it's because I can do that whole seeing other people's guides nonsense in meditations or in lucid dreams or whatever. I promise you I don't go looking for this. But I've seen the stag. You can have a rabbit as a guide. I have not met someone personally who has a rabbit, but I have seen rabbits hopping around in my weirdness. I don't know anyone personally who has a rabbit. You could have a snail. Yes, you can have insects, by the way. Yeah, the snail's not my best one. I'm getting kind of lazy. I have to draw 20 pictures. My effort's really waning. But you could, yeah, you can have bugs. You can have bugs as guides. I have seen plenty of bugs. Plenty of mice. Plenty of rodents, such as the squirrel here, or the squirrel face. Yes, you can have a squirrel. Squirrels are fun. And this one's kind of funky, but it was a weird picture to draw it from. He was like in water, and because I don't have time to do color or paint, I don't really have time to do really detailed shading either. I'm trying to do as much as I can with the time allotted. And, well, his reflection looks weird and he looks weird, but whatever. You can also have a frog. What these mean in your life, like let's say you have a frog, well, a frog to you may mean something different than a frog to me. I've had temporary guides. I've never had a temporary frog. I've had a temporary guide as a phoenix. I've had a temporary guide that was a cardinal. I've had a swan. Quite a few. But anyway. Yeah, so my pictures. But I just want to show you. I'll put them on DeviantArt. Remember, you can look at my DeviantArt if you want to see it. And also check out my Twitter. I still have added that. I will try and be up on it. I don't know much about it, but yeah. So check out my DeviantArt, my Twitter. Like, subscribe, whatever, and I'll keep doing updates. Alright, bye. Have a super day.